Hi everybody and welcome back to Loft Legacy, and today we're going to go back to a time where the BBC made good programmes. We're going to look at the original multimedia offering of Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So, I'm going to start naturally with the radio play. I've got it on cassette. Primary phase and secondary phase, and it was released on BBC Radio, these two offerings, 1978, written by the late great Douglas Adams, who had the idea when he was hitchhiking across Europe and he found a guide to the Hitchhiker's Guide to Europe, and he thought, what a good idea if there was a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So it's about a man called Arthur Dent, and Arthur Dent's quite a normal, quite a boring chap, and his best friend, Ford Prefect, turns up one day, drags him to the pub, says, drink a moderate amount of beer at lunchtime, because we're going to get transported off the Earth, because the Earth's going to get destroyed imminently by a fleet of Vogue constructor vessels to make a new interstellar highway. Then they get picked up as hitchhikers by Zaphod Beeblebrox, who's like the most famous man in the galaxy, and they go on search for the meaning of life, the universe, and everything. I'm not going to spoil it. The meaning of life, the universe, and everything, but it is just truly amazing. Both on cassette. The first series offering had Simon Jones as Arthur Dent, Geoffrey McGivern as Ford Prefect, and Zaphod Beeblebrox, played by Mark Wing Davey. We can't hear the rain outside, it's absolutely chucking it down. So these are just superb, they really are. I class the radio plays as the original and best Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Love it, love it. So, the BBC, in their wisdom, in the early 80s, 1981, made a TV series of it. The TV series, the same narrator. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is narrated by an actor called Peter Jones. He narrates the book in this, and Mark Wing Davis, they actually changed his name for that, and Arthur Dent, the same, Simon Jones, the same actors, sorry. So there they are, Arthur and Ford. Ford's from Beetlejuice, by the way, he's not human, and Ford doesn't know this. So this is a really nice kind of, there's the two-headed intergalactic legend Zaphod Beeblebrox. And this DVD set's actually got quite a nice menus to it. There's a card that is nothing more than adverts for other BBC media, but there's loads and loads and loads of extras on disc 2. There's lots of extras on this. It's a really nice, as well as looking beautiful, it's really good. Now, I absolutely love this. Aged 8. Is it some midweek evening back in 1981? Excuse me. It was shown on BBC. Can't remember if it was on BBC One or BBC Two. About 8, half 8, I think. And my dad used to let me stop up and watch it. Just unbelievable. The opening titles is some of my favourite opening titles. It's one of some of the best sci-fi opening titles ever. It's in 4:3 aspect ratio, which was the TV standard of the time. Look, the special effects are pretty ropey, even some of them by BBC standards of the time, but it's huge fun. Now, it's got a shoehorn. It's 199 minutes, and it's got to shoehorn two 2-hour 55 radio plays into that. So some of this isn't in this, but it stays very faithful to the story. But this goes into more detail, especially with the restaurant at the end of the universe and what's beyond it. However, this is highly, highly, highly recommended. I just love it. It stands up well to it. It's very silly, very British, very daft sense of humour, very sarcastic sense of humour, very Douglas Adams. It's brilliant. So many, many, many years later, when was this made? Anyway, many, many years later, when was it made? Doesn't say. 2000, something like that. Let me have a look. They're not saying. Anyway, years later, I'll put the date on the screen. It matters. They made a feature film of this. Now, I went to see this at the cinema, and I was dreading seeing it, to be honest. It's actually quite good. It's actually really good. It's quite faithful to each other. Some of the roles are better, some of the roles are not as good. So Arthur and Ford in this are played by Martin Freeman and Mos Def. They're alright. Mos Def's pretty good as Ford Prefect, as an alien. I find Martin Freeman a bit lacklustre as Arthur, whereas Arthur in this is kind of quite an irate Little Englander. Martin Freeman just kind of goes through this in a daze. Who is really good in this is Sam Rockwell as Zephyr Beeblebrox. I love him in this. Yes, the special effects in this aren't a rubber head perched on an actor's shoulder, because he has two heads. It's excellent. He's excellent. Trillian is Zoe Dushangle. I think that's how I pronounce her name. She's really good in this. She's really quirky. There's a lot of chemistry between her and Arthur, because they used to know each other, and it's a big coincidence they bump into each other in outer space. In this, the hugely annoyingly voiced Sandra Dickinson, who was never off the TV, an American actress with a really squeaky voice. She was never off TV in the early 80s, probably because she was married to the Doctor Who at the time, Peter Davison. So, as the four main characters, two are better in here and two are better in here. It's quite fair. These two are quite good together. This holds up better for a watch all the way through, being episodic. This flags about halfway on. I've got to admit, after the initial excitement, you do kind of get a little bit fatigued with it, but it's all right. It's perfectly serviceable. As I said, I was dreading seeing it, and I was pleasantly surprised at the cinema. As for the three, which do I prefer? Well, it's got to be the radio play, hasn't it? It really has. About the two screen versions, that's better, but that's perfectly watchable. I actually watched it in HD on Prime not too long ago, and it's fine. One difference between these and the movie is Peter Jones, who died in 2000, is the voice of the book. In these, isn't in this, because it is. So I'm really tired tonight. I'm really tired tonight recording this. Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry. He does a perfectly serviceable and pleasant job. He's got a lovely voice of Stephen Fry. He's good as the book. I prefer Peter Jones. He's kind of like the original voice of the book. This has got some animations that are supposed to be computer graphics, and they look really cool today. These emulate them, so you've got 20 odd years apart, computer graphics emulating early fake, I think they were fake, computer graphics for the BBC TV series. So yeah, I'd recommend all three if you're a Sci-Fi Factory. It's silly, kind of off the wall sarcastic British comedy sci-fi. Yeah, but it is one of the key, to me, it's one of my key sci-fi discoveries growing up. 8 years old, watching this on BBC TV. Absolutely loved it. So, as on the front in large friendly letters, the Hitchhikers Guide to the Galaxy said, don't panic. Don't panic, because I've been bringing you the 3 physical media versions that I have of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The classic by the late great Douglas Adams. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. We've got loads more on the shelves around me to share with you, and I'm really enjoying sharing some of my physical media archive with you guys. Take care, everybody. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon.